Did Brian Daboll take a shot at John Mara and his post-game press conference following the Week 17 win over the Indianapolis Colts? I think he did because he doubled down when he said it. We'll break that down around the corner. First, though, I want to hear from you. If you were John Mara, if you were Joe Schoen, or maybe the new general manager of this football team, would you fire Brian Daboll? Type F for fire, type K for keep. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. I appreciate everybody for stopping by as we react to what Brian Daboll had to say to the media following the win against the Indianapolis Colts. I think he took a shot at John Mara, and he pretty much said, this is what happens when you don't give me Daniel Jones and you give me a quarterback that can contribute. This is what Brian Daboll said, unprovoked. He didn't get asked a question. He just waltzed up to the media press conference, and his opening statement was this: pretty good day. It was good to get a win at home. A lot of guys played well. That's how the offense needs to perform. That's how the quarterback needs to perform. So when you do that and you win the turnover ratio, you have a chance to score points and win. This is the part. That's how the quarterback needs to perform. He wasn't asked, why did the Giants win? How did the Giants win? He just took the mic and said that. Probably means nothing, right? Right? Probably doesn't mean anything by it, right? Just probably talking about the game. Like, it's easier to win games when the quarterbacks play well, right? Okay, I thought so too. Then he was asked this question. Did you have any inkling that you could have a big day offensively? It just hasn't been there. And then Brian Daboll said this: I think if you get good quarterback play, you have an opportunity in every game. I'll say that again. I think if you get good quarterback play, you have an opportunity in every single game. And if you don't turn the football over and you make plays at critical times. Yeah, this was Brian Daboll telling John Mara, you haven't given me a quarterback worth a shit that could help me win football games. But the moment that we get a quarterback in Drew Lock who plays a good football game, I show you that I could be a head coach. This was Brian Daboll's way of saying, you gave me Daniel Jones and you gave me lemons and you expected to make lemonade. Thing is, there was nothing sweet about Daniel Jones's game. There was no sugar to add to this lemonade. Daniel Jones is sugar-free Kool-Aid, and nobody wants to drink that bullshit. What about this photo from Hard Knocks? Remember when Joe Schoen said, you know what? We're going to roll with Daniel Jones, and we're going to get him a playmaker. Brian Daboll looked at him and said, oh, motherfucker, we're going to do this again. The look of, holy shit, I have to use Daniel Jones as my quarterback again. What about later on in Hard Knocks? Joe Schoen asks Brian Daboll, have you seen enough to where you would trade up for Jaden Daniels? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would trade up for Jaden Daniels. Brian Daboll, 100% right about that one. I say all this to say, Brian Daboll was not given the tools necessary to have a productive offense. In other words, give me a QB, give me a professional level quarterback, and I can win you games. That was the entire point of his opening monologue and his opening statements from that press conference. That's how the QB needs to perform. Brian Daboll knew he had no shot. He had no chance to win football games at a strong clip this year with Daniel Jones. And yesterday, as Brian Daboll has already probably heard, he's a dead man walking, and John Mara has already made up his mind to fire him and that he's going to tell Joe Schoen to fire him. Brian Daboll went out there and coached maybe his best offensive game as a New York Football Giant head coach. Yesterday was Daboll's final F you to John Mara. You want to fire me after you made me coach Daniel Jones? You want to fire me after you gave me a shitty quarterback? Sure, I'm going to mess up your draft pick, and I'm going to show you that if you give me a decent quarterback, I can go out there and get him some plays that work. Yesterday was my biggest fear with Brian Daboll. If you watch this show, you know that I have flipped and flopped on Brian Daboll. And there's a reason why. But my final flip and my final flop has been that I think he should be fired because he has not done a good enough job as the head coach of the New York Football Giants to keep his job. But yesterday was my biggest fear with Brian Daboll. I'll tell you what I mean by that around the corner. First, though, I got to give a major shout out to our proud ticketing sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking for cheap last-minute tickets and you want the tickets that give you the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed, download the Game Time app and use that promo code ChatSports, and you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. It's the best app out there. I've used all the ticketing apps out there. None of them come close to Game Time. They specialize in last-minute tickets and flash deals. It's so user-friendly. You get to see the view from the seats that you're looking to buy and the lowest price guaranteed. You could have went to the only win at MetLife Stadium for the New York Giants in 2024 for $52 or $62, whatever that says, lower bowl, and you could have got $20 off with that promo code ChatSports. So make sure you do use that ChatSports promo code and get $20 off first purchase where terms do apply. All that information will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Alrighty, why was yesterday my biggest fear with firing Brian Daboll? Because Brian Daboll is a QB guy. Brian Daboll is a head coach or offensive coordinator that I think can put a quarterback that has some talent in a position to win football games. He showed that by winning yesterday, and he showed that by winning 3 games with Tommy DeVito. He won 3 games with Tommy DeVito, and he put up 38 points yesterday with Drew Lock. He showed you that if you give me just a little bit at the quarterback position, if you show me that you can do anything, or if you give him anything at QB, he can show you that he can almost make magic happen. He just wasn't able to do so with Daniel Jones outside of the rookie year, first year here where they made the playoffs because Daniel Jones is a very limited quarterback. Part of the reason that Brian Daboll was hired as the New York Football Giants was because he was the QB guru. Because he was the guy that was supposed to help you identify the next quarterback. He saw that in Jane Daniels. And 2, develop that next quarterback. He hasn't got a shot to develop the quarterback that he has wanted. He was also brought here, though, to fix the offense. And the offense is still broken. The offense is more broken than it ever was, despite what we saw in Week 17, which I think is more of a blimp on the radar than what we are expecting and have seen so far. I like what Brian Daboll can do with a young quarterback. I really, really do. And I do think a young quarterback could have success with Brian Daboll as his head coach. But I can't unsee what I've seen this year. I'm not sure I can forget all of the other stuff that have led me to the opinion that he should be fired. Starting with maybe the most important thing as a play caller, which Brian Daboll was brought here to do. He is horrible in the red zone as a play caller. The Giants are bottom of the league this year in red zone touchdown percentage. They were bottom in the NFL last year in red zone touchdown percentage when he wasn't the official offensive coordinator, but he was the one running the meetings and running the install. The only time the Giants offense was successful in the red zone was when Mike Kafka was head honcho. Brian Daboll has also been a horrible play caller on 4th down. Horrible on 4th down. He's been horrible on 2-point conversions. On money downs as the offensive coordinator for the New York Football Giants, he has been one of the worst in the National Football League. I don't know if Brian Daboll's tanking. I don't think he is. I don't know if he wanted to tank that game yesterday. But what the hell was the pitch play to the left side on 4th and 1 with the motion lead blocker? Everybody knew the pitch was going that way. He hasn't had a good 4th down play call called ever. And I still cannot forgive him for going forward on 4th and 8 in the 2022 postseason on the first drive of the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Because you went for it, you didn't get it, and that was the end of the game. You lost the playoff game in the first quarter because you went for it on 4th and 8. He's also horrible when it comes to game and time management. He's played hurt kickers multiple times. I think he's terrible usage of timeouts. There's no analysis or no reasoning for his 4th down, go for it or don't go for it type of play calls. He says he used advanced analytics, and they talk about it all week long, but nothing he ever does aligns with the analytics. It's just off the cuff Dabes. But another thing that makes me feel like he can't be the head coach, he can't build a winning staff. He can't build a winning staff. He hired Bobby Johnson as the offensive line coach. Fired him. Now he's cooking in Washington. He's on offensive line coach 2 in 3 years. He's on offensive coordinator number 2 in 3 years. Essentially fired Mike Kafka. He's on defensive coordinator 2 in 3 years. Couldn't establish a relationship with Wink Martindale, and he hired Shane Bowen, who is the worst defensive coordinator in the National Football League. He's on special teams coordinator number 2 in 3 years. So you're not good on 3rd down. You're not good on 4th down. You're not good on 2-point conversions. You can't build a staff, and you're 12-30-1 in your last 43 games as the New York Football Giants quarterback. Just because you got one damn thing going for you, which may be really important, being able to work with a young QB, which I like the idea. I love the idea of young Cam Ward coming to work with Brian Daboll because I believe he could put a quarterback in position to have success that has talent. But I can't forget the 3rd down conversion plays. Can't forget 4th down. Can't forget 2-point conversions. Can't forget red zone. Can't forget not building a staff. Can't forget all of that. I love the idea of Brian Daboll working with a young QB, but I can't gloss over all of the red X's that I have on his resume. Is there a guy better out there? Here are some of the hottest names right now when it comes to head coaches. Cliff Kingsbury. Zach Robinson. That's not right. Brian Flores. Aaron Glenn. Jesse Mentor. Dan Lanning. Lincoln Riley. Todd Monken. Liam Cohen. Kellen Moore. Joe Brady. Thomas Brown. Mike Vrabel. Ben Johnson? Like, is there a better option out there? I do think Mike Vrabel is a better option. And I think there's a couple of those guys that could be better options. Because if all Brian Daboll does to keep him as the head coach is develop a young quarterback, you can go get another guy that develops a young quarterback. Cliff Kingsbury, Liam Cohen. There's other guys out there that could do it. I like the idea of Brian Daboll working with a young quarterback. But at the end of the day, I can't forget all of the other things. I don't know. What do you think? Should the Giants fire Brian Daboll? I'll ask you one more time. F for fire, K for keep. And make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG @MarshallGreen_.